So you are all very lucky to be hearing from the wisdom of Bruce Bobbins. He has been at DKC, which is our press and PR partner, and he'll be right here for quite some time. Oh, NBC is calling. See, exactly. Yeah, for quite some time. Most of you probably have spoken with him already. He is the person with whom you have your interviews for your GoAERO team blog post stories and all of that. He is also actively helping to get you press and publicity along with the rest of the team at DKC, and there are a phenomenal team there of I think probably like 10, probably like 10 people that we work with on a daily basis to help tell your stories. So without further ado, here is Bruce, and he will tell you how to get press, tell your story, which will only accrue to all of your best interests.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I usually just walk around when I do this, so I'm not usually around the podium, but yet you have an advantage in terms of getting press because you're doing something that press wants to know about. You're doing something interesting. You're doing something unique. You're doing something exciting. You're doing something that is going to save lives. And the media wants to know about these things. They don't want to just have to report on shootings and fires and police activities and disaster type stuff. They want good stories. They want interesting stories. They want hometown hero stories. And that's what you are. You're a hometown hero wherever you live. So, if you're living in San Francisco, the TV stations, the San Francisco Chronicle, they want to know about this because they can't exist without these stories. They cannot get advertising unless they're talking about local things. They can't get sponsors for things that they do without local stories that people want to read about. People want to read about and people want to see their neighbors doing these exciting things. So you are a hometown hero. You're doing something that's newsworthy. You're creating this new class of emergency response vehicles. And at a time when there are, 2-3 dozen billion-dollar extreme weather disasters a year now, what you're going to be doing is so important. And like I said, it's going to be life-saving. And media is going to be interested in that. So how do you tell your story? Because that's the key, is when you contact or we contact the media, we don't just say to the media, hey, we've got a great story for you. No, we got to tell them that story to hook them, to pique their interest, okay? So they want to know all the interesting things about you as to why you're involved in GoAERO. How'd you get involved in it? Did you have an epiphany as a child that, when you were building your first, model, it was an airplane, you said that, I love this, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life? Or was there some kind of disaster that you saw that you said, oh, if only we could have done this? And I've spoken to about 30 of the teams already, give or take, and some of them have said that's the reason why they're involved in trying to create these emergency response flyers, is because they saw the need for it. So that's another thing, okay? Do you come from a family of engineers? Do you come from a family of physicians or emergency response technicians? What made you decide to pursue not just GoAERO, but the humanitarian mission of GoAERO? All this adds to the story that you're going to be telling the media so that they can present a very interesting portrait of your team. Just as I think I probably interviewed everybody already in this room, the draft profiles that I send you to look at, that's what the newspaper is going to be looking at too. They want to create those type of interesting feature stories about you that have all the elements. It almost makes it like, you know, a movie of the week type thing, because that's what makes a good story. So those are the types of things that you're going to have to be able to tell the media. Those are the questions that you're going to be asked, just as I asked them. The things that are up here, the disasters, did you come from a family of engineers? Did you come from a family of humanitarians? Did you come from a family of doctors? And then how did you continue from the time you decided you're going to do this? How did you continue? Did you take that into college with you? And what did you do while you were in college? Were you part of a aerospace engineering club, and that's how you got interested? Were you in a laboratory with others, and you were building things, and you already competed in some competitions? They're going to want to know that too. Anything that, and then of course, what makes your flyer unique? What are the things that your flyer does that they didn't even conceive of, that makes this different than a drone or a helicopter? You know, is it a quadcopter? Is it an eVTOL? Is it hybrid? Is it gas? All those different things, how it works. Does it have special radar? Does it have cyber hacking equipment, or cyber security, so you don't get hacked? Things that people say, oh, this is really interesting. These are different elements that are very interesting. So that's how you need to tell your story, is through those questions. The same type of questions, as I said, that I asked you, are the questions that media would ask you too. Okay? Now, why does this matter? Because every team that I have interviewed over the past 6 months is looking for funding and sponsors. That's the goal when we talk about PR, is the funding and the sponsors. And there's a direct correlation between funding and PR, sponsors and PR. Why? Because people want to give to winners. When they see a story in the newspaper or they see a story on television, if it touches them in some way, they're going to say, you know what, I want to be part of that. I want to participate in that. How can I do that? How can, and in your case, you're going to be asking them for some money, or you're going to be asking them to, you know, some kind of sponsorship to do some things. And there's a direct correlation. I use this example all the time, that when you see something on television about a dog that was left out in the cold or that was injured, you automatically say, I'm going to give to the SPCA, right? Or some kind of organization like that. And it's the same thing when you get at work at a university. I used to represent a guy named Barry Scheck. I don't know if people remember his name or know his name, but Barry Scheck created something called the Innocence Project, which takes people who are on death row and can get them off death row using DNA. He created the DNA evidence in the legal system. Every time I would put him on TV, the law school that he was at, Cardozo Law School, would see a tremendous surge in applications and donations. And it's the same thing with you. The more people see what you're doing on television or in your local paper, hear about you on the radio, see about you on the net, they're going to want to say, this is really interesting, I want to be a part of it, how can I help? And that's when you make the ask. Okay? Now, how do you do all this? What are the tactics that you use? Well, it's press releases. So you can make a press release, and we help with this. Make a press release about that you're competing in GoAERO. We can take the draft, the profiles that I already wrote, and we can send them to the media and say, here's all about our team. We'd like you to do a story about us. Okay? We use them for pitching purposes. That's what they call it. When we go out to media, we call it pitching media. Sometimes we just take 3 lines and we say, hey, I'm pitching a story about this, this, and this. If you want to learn more, contact me. They do. So you want to go to, like, for newspapers, you want to go to newspaper editors. You want to see who covers, let's say, flying or aerospace at a newspaper, who covers emergency response at a newspaper, who covers the local firefighters and the police at TV stations. And everybody, when you go to a website for a newspaper or a television station or radio, it'll have, like, at the bottom or somewhere, it'll say contact or meet the team. And you can find out all this information on who's reporting on whatever you want to report on. So you find these sort of what they call beat reporters, and that's who you would normally pitch. Okay? And then you introduce yourself. And the best thing to do is have them come and meet you. Because you can tell a great story, and they invariably will say, I'd love to see that. Can I come over to your laboratory? Can I come to your garage? Can I come to your school and see this? And you want them to come. You want to invite them into your home, sort of, and so that they can experience what you're doing and how exciting it is. If you have an opportunity to show them a little, prototype that's already flying, that makes it even more exciting than just the design. If you have video, they love that. Anything that's visual, they will love, because especially for TV, it's all visuals. They don't want somebody who's just going to talk. They need those visuals. But then more and more newspapers on their websites, they will link video to their stories. So it'll say, learn more here or something like this, and you can click on and you can see the story. So the more visuals that you have, the better it is for your story. Now, we will also media train you if you've never done an interview before, and a lot of you haven't. Probably if I may be the first person you've ever interviewed with when I did the profile. But we will media train you to give answers that make it very personal to you. You want to tell your personal story. You can't get too technical. The one thing the media, you have to understand that the average reading level of most media, even media who are smart, is about high school. So when you start getting very, very technical and using very technical aerospace engineering terms, they're not going to understand it. Or if you use abbreviations like UAV, you have to explain what that is. Or SAR, search and rescue, you have to understand, you have to explain what that is. Don't use a lot of technical terms. Make it for the layperson. And because otherwise you're going to have to keep on explaining things. But the more that you can make it personal and say to them, well, imagine you lived in, like Rob lives in California. Imagine you were in the middle of a wildfire and you had to do this. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to save people who are caught in a wildfire, or if I'm caught in a flood zone or whatever. Make it very personal, because everybody identifies with the personal. Again, contact information on all local news sites. Sometimes it's something like news tips at, but they look at it. They have people that look at that inbox all the time, because they don't know about stories. Again, most news, especially TV news, but newspaper news also, they're only as good as the stories that they know about. And so yes, they have people who cover the police and the fire and things like that. But for other things, they're dependent on PR people and local neighbors and residents to tell them stories that are good. So don't be afraid to reach out and use that contact information. Also, very important, follow up. I once had a TV producer at ABC News in New York come and speak to the company I work for. So we have about 150 people at the company I work for. And she said she gets 5,000 emails a day. Most of them from PR people pitching her stories, or people complaining about something that she reported on. So if you don't follow up, especially if they don't know you, you have to follow up. Don't be afraid to be a little bit of a pest. Okay? I'm a big pest. Truthfully, I am a pest when it comes to reaching out to media. But I think that's what's made me very successful at what I do too. Again, this is how it all works. PR equals news equals fundraising and friend raising. And that's what this is all about. The more positive PR coverage, the positive media coverage you can get, the more that you're going to get support from donors, from supporters, from influencers. And then when you're at the final fly-off, media come to that. You know, when we did the Go Fly Prize 5 years ago, right before the pandemic, by the way, we had lots of media from California, from across the country, and across the world coming to do stories because this had never been done before. Now you have GoAERO, which is something completely different. Again, we know that media is going to be there. And what does that mean for you? The more that you get attention and media get to interview you there, you're going to be able to get more funding and more sponsors so that when you go out to get your company off the ground or whatever you're going to do with your GoAERO vehicle, people will already know about you. You'll already be fully funded, hopefully, and you don't have to go through all that, the tough part of getting funding, because that's not the easy, that's really hard. This is, getting PR and media coverage is easy. Getting money is hard. So, and that's it. Any questions?
For everyone in this room, and I think you know this, and I want to just reiterate what Bruce said. I believe all of you have spoken with Bruce, but GoAERO is actively, in conjunction with our team at DKC and Bruce and his colleagues, is actively pitching you to press within your areas. So you should keep us up to speed with your developments. If you have videos that you feel comfortable publicly releasing, you should send them to us. You should say, hey, we want some press. You should say, oh, this local reporter in our area might be interested in this. Or you can say, we don't even know who the reporters are. Can you help us find them? And we will actively support you in that way. For those of you who also were trickling in, we will also be doing press coaching for you before you speak with press. If you want to take us up on the offer, we can give you tips and how to present and all of that. So that may be helpful to you. And then as we lead up over the next 2 years and get to the fly-off, there will be a cascade of press and publicity. And at the fly-off event at NASA Ames, I'm not sure if anybody in this room attended GoFly's fly-off. No. We have several thousand people there. We have press from all around the world. We have a team row where you each have your own places, and we have press come up and meet you, as well as investors and technology executives and all of that. So it is this wonderful opportunity for you to get your word out and your technology out to the world to take the next steps. But Bruce and the team at DKC is very much involved in helping to get your stories told. If you are press shy and you don't want to do it, you do not have to. What I will tell you, and say this unequivocally, is that the more legitimate press that you get, the better it is for you, because it will be easier to bring in partners and sponsors and legitimacy. And that is not only during GoAERO, that is for after the competition. So we are trying to set you up for success both during the competition and afterwards in terms of the partners that we bring in, and part of serving you and part of making sure that you have success is telling your story to a public audience. And that is not only for partners, but that is for the future public. Many of you here want to set up your company and deploy and actually save lives, which is our goal for all of you. And to do that, you have to convince the public that your new technology is something that's wonderful and will save people. And so part of that is the press and the publicity and the communication. Bruce and his team are the best at it, bar none. Bruce didn't tell you, and we didn't talk about DKC, but they are every year voted the top PR company in New York. And New York is the PR center of the US, which is also a PR center of the world. So they are the very best at what they do. And you should take advantage of their expertise should you wish to do so. Once again, you do not have to. We would encourage you to do so.